Hey, this is Dina. Welcome to the Den. Well, look where we are. We finally made it to the 4th installment in the Silent Hill series. Silent Hill 4. The Room.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Now that that's out of the way, this is another Silent Hill game I originally experienced when I was only a casual fan of the series. I played the first 2 games all the way through, and Silent Hill 3 up to maybe halfway through the mall area, then had given up on it for the time being, and sort of forgot about it. But then a demo disc for Silent Hill 4 turned up in one of Lee's video game magazines, and I had to play it. Turned out that it covered the opening of the game and the entire subway level. Pretty good chunk of the game if you think about it. I was completely blown away. First just by seeing what the other world looked like in a first-person view, then having your character die. Oh, but wait, it was just a dream. But your character is trapped in the apartment just like in the dream.
What the hell?
You find a way out through the hole in the wall that takes you to another world, where you meet another person and...
Who are you?
Eventually find another hole, only to wake up in bed again.
What? Another dream. But it seems so real.
That was a serious mind screw to me when I first played it. And long after the game stopped making a production out of it, I still couldn't get over it for a long time. I was just like, wow, I go through a hole and I end up back in bed. Every time like it's normal. What the hell?
What the hell?
The demo ends on a serious downer.
Are you okay?
But God, it left me so intrigued.
There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, I know this is a spoiler, but it happens in the first level, and if you even just know about the existence of Silent Hill 4, you probably already know about this scene anyway. Unfortunately, it was still a couple of weeks before the game was going to come out, so I spent all that time on pins and needles. To help ease the torture, I brought out Silent Hill 3 and finally finished the damn thing. Then, after I got to play through Silent Hill 4 a few more times, I went back to the beginning and played all 4 games again in order, and it forced me to recognize the sheer awesomeness of this unique franchise. And I became a Silent Hill fan for life. So, Silent Hill 4 not only got me to finally go back and finish Silent Hill 3, it also played a big part in making me a big fan of the series. So, if not for Silent Hill 4, you might not have a Silent Hill themed game den to watch every October. Or November. Or April of the following year. So, love it or hate it, we all owe something to this game, so it deserves a little respect. But I will admit that despite some of its cool new features, it's generally the weakest of the first 4 Silent Hill games. It seems like it was kind of rushed, and it comes across as a little bit lazy in some areas. I'll get into that more later. When I first played Silent Hill 4, it seemed pretty straightforward, and it didn't seem like there was a lot of symbolism involved. Now that I'm a lot more familiar with this game, I've picked up on a lot that I missed in the beginning, and maybe a lot of other people missed too. The game is basically too subtle for its own good at times. It's probably the most combat-heavy out of the first 4 games. No shotguns, just a pistol, and later a revolver. The game basically encourages you to use melee weapons. But to its credit, Henry does kick ass with them, especially the axe. So wailing on enemies can actually be pretty fun. One thing I love, that I think hasn't shown up in later games if I'm remembering correctly, is the charge attack. This is the first, and I think the last, case where if you hold down on the attack button, the character will deliver a devastating attack. That's right, you don't fuck with Henry. If there's one thing in this game I could really do without, it's the ghosts. They cannot be killed. You can beat them into submission for a while, and there are items to help you fight them, the Sword of Obedience, which pins them to the ground for a while, and the Saint Medallion, which keeps you from getting damaged by nearby ghosts, but they break eventually. Yeah, that's right, the presence of ghosts causes headaches for Henry, and these enemies will cause damage just by being anywhere near you. That's not right. Also, the inventory system was changed with this one. Limited inventory I don't mind too much because usually holes leading back to your apartment and your supply box are not hard to find. Except in the last level where they're non-existent. But if you're going to limit the inventory, you better give me the option to drop useless items. There are a couple of weapons that break eventually, and once that happens, there's no reason to keep them around. Also, the game doesn't tell you what an item is until it's already in your inventory. So if you pick something up because you want to find out what it is, only to find out that it's useless, tough shit, you're stuck with it for a while. Also, the ability to select items in real time is nice as an option, but sometimes I'd like for the game to pause while I'm trying to figure out what item I want to use. And God forbid I'm ever down to a sliver of health in the middle of a battle and the cursor is on the opposite end from a health drink. I'd have to run away to buy some time anyway, so it's not like selecting items in real time is necessarily faster. Plus, the icons are so tiny, sometimes it's hard to tell what they are. Again, in the middle of an intense battle, that can be a serious crutch. Graphics are kind of a mixed bag with this one. I love the character designs. I think the characters look great, as long as they're not moving too much. The animation is kind of cheap at times, and the characters tend to look kind of stiff. This is one of those reasons why I kind of think the game is rushed. I can forgive almost everything except for how the arms look. Speaking as someone who used to do character modeling and animation for a video game company, I can attest that shoulders are a bitch to get right when it comes to attaching a model to a skeleton and animating it. It's something I always had trouble with. But, you know, I was something of a beginner. There is no excuse for it to look that way in a finished game, especially a game from a well-established franchise like Silent Hill. I'm guessing that with more time they would have fixed it, but come on, Team Silent. A lot of the complaints people have about Silent Hill 4 are relative, but graphically there is no excuse for it to be a step down from Silent Hill 3. One of the things about Silent Hill 4 that the haters love to hold against it is that it started out as not a Silent Hill game. But at some point Konami decided to put the Silent Hill label on it because they figured it wouldn't sell otherwise. Now there's a lot of fan speculation about exactly what point in the game's development that the change happened. I scoured the internet trying to find out to no avail, but one thing that's pretty telling in my opinion is that every article I could find referred to it as Silent Hill 4, so it had to have happened pretty early in development. And you know what else? It was always going to be made by Team Silent, it was always going to have music by and be produced by Akira Yamaoka, and it was always going to reference Jacob's Ladder and all those other things where the Silent Hill series draws its inspiration from. So it was always going to be a Silent Hill game in spirit, if not in practice. So if you just don't like the game, fine. Just don't use "it's not really a Silent Hill game" as an excuse, because it's kind of a weak one. Anyway, I guess what I'm getting at is that this game has its good and bad points like anything else. Your mileage may vary, I guess, as to what the ratio of good to bad is. I'd rather focus on the good, which is mostly what I'm going to be doing. But more than anything else, I'm going to be talking about this game's story and the characters. Hopefully I can help people understand it better. You can decide on your own if the game is good or bad or somewhere in between, but at least you can make an informed opinion rather than just hating it because it's different. So of course there's going to be spoilers, so if you haven't played the game yet... Still time! Yeah, what he said.